A young monk and his master used to reside in the Sera monastery. One day, the teacher instructed the young monk to go to Tromsøkong, one of Lhasa's biggest markets, and buy some meat. However, the young monk's master gave him a harsh warning before he departed, telling him to go buy a few pounds of meat, but take only what the meat seller gives you and don't ask for more. The young monk set out at first light the following morning, walking so quickly that his brow was drenched in sweat by the time he reached the market. He walked directly to the woman who sold meat. He felt that the meat's weight did not match the measurement on the scale after she had weighed it and given it to him. He cleared his throat, massaged his head, and stuck out his tongue. "Meat seller Amala, this piece of meat is not enough," he exclaimed, clearly not happy. The meat seller's wife, irritated, added a bit more meat. The young monk said, "Meat seller Amala, this meat is still not enough," since he still thought that it was insufficient. Once more, she added a bit more. The young monk was still not happy. "There is still not enough meat, Amala, the meat seller." She was snubbing him. He insisted again. The woman selling the meat finally pulled out another piece of pork. She gave him the meat while glaring at him. "Yeah, you're all set. Just take this one if you need more." With a smile on his face, the monk headed back to the monastery, certain that his teacher would be overjoyed to have this extra flesh. "I bought some good meat today," he informed his teacher. "I'll prepare whatever delectable meals you request." The young monk could not stop talking about how smart he was. His teacher remarked, "Oh, that's good. But did you follow my instructions?" And the young monk answered, "Yes, I did. I didn't receive enough meat from the salesperson for the amount she requested. I thus kept asking for more, which is how I was able to obtain this much." He continued to chat proudly. His teacher was astounded. "Oh my goodness, what a shame. You disregarded my instructions. You're in serious trouble now. Please hold out your hand." The young monk held out his hand, feeling strange. After giving it a close inspection, his teacher discovered a fresh mark on it. "Oh my, this is awful. I told you to accept whatever the merchant provided you, didn't I? You committed a grave error. How do we proceed?" The instructor was dejected, and his breathing grew difficult. The young monk became upset and inquired of the teacher what was wrong. "This is a mark given by an evil human demoness," the teacher declared. "It means that you will be food tonight. There is nothing left to do now but to die." The monk became nervous and gasped for air as soon as he saw his teacher's look and heard his remarks. He paused, then exploded, saying, "Dear teacher, dear general, please help me. Tell me how I can be saved, please. Would you please?" He repeatedly pleaded with his teacher. He was told by the teacher, "I can't save you. However, if you follow my instructions to the letter, there could be a way to preserve your life. But you have to follow my instructions and do as I ask you to do." The young monk said, "I will do whatever you say to save my life. You had to visit Lhasa right now. Near the Ramosh temple, there is an elderly woman in her 80s who lives in a tent used by beggars. Please really ask for her assistance. Give her some buttered barley flour dough called sampa ba. Invite her to stay with her for the night. In the end, your life may be saved if she agrees. If not, there is no way to save you. Not even if you hide on the lap of the Jo-O statue tonight. Now pay attention. Don't waste your day on pointless activities. You will perish this time if you are irresponsible." That afternoon, the young monk departed for Lhasa as instructed by his teacher. When he eventually found the tent and the elderly woman, he had searched diligently for the location his teacher had mentioned. "Amala, it's very late tonight, and I don't know anyone here," he said to her. "Permit me to remain here with you tonight, please." He begged pathetically, but the old woman would not hear of it. He then took out some dried cheese and butter, added it to some tsampa, and made some delicious ba, which he then offered to her. Surprised, the old woman asked him why he did this. Without leaving anything out, he told her what had happened to him in the marketplace. Then he begged her, "Please, save my life." Although the old woman had initially ignored him, his pitiful, sorrowful pleas evoked her compassion, and she agreed to let him stay the night. To save his life, he was to hide quietly in a large clay pot used to store barley beer. The old woman made 2 small holes in the pot and tied down the cover with a length of chimigudri, a woven rope of 9 eyes. She tied it around the neck of the pot with 9 knots. The old woman sat astride the ceramic pot as dusk approached. She rode the pot across the ground, making a shaky, shaky sound, and headed toward an ancient tree that was home to a variety of demons and wicked spirits. The young monk could not believe what he saw as he forced himself to look through the 2 holes and overcome his dread. Numerous bad spirits were frolicking around all around him. Some of them were mounted on horses, while others were on mules. Some of them were brandishing brooms and fire pokers, while others were mounted roosters, pigs, and other creatures. They were on a variety of rides. A few of the malevolent ghosts exhaled fire. Some were missing their second eye and only had 1. Some had no left arms, but just right legs. A few had half of their hides removed. Some had bare backs from which their guts and organs protruded and trailed on the floor. The young monk was afraid as he saw all these horrible things, but he realized that all he could do was follow the old woman's instructions to remain motionless and as silently as possible within the pot. A little while later, the elderly woman moved with an abrupt shaky, shaky shake, riding the clay pot and raising a cloud of dust in her wake. The devils moved aside to give her a polite greeting. Before the group assembled, she excitedly exclaimed, Yeah, all right then. Who is this evening's meat bringer, the shaggle? Raise your flesh, please. One human demon said. Gopon La, chief of the gathering, I am the one with meat duty tonight. At that very moment. Everyone, please wait a moment. I've cooked a special meat for all of you tonight. I'll head over to fetch it straight now. Subsequently, she tripped over a broom and vanished behind a dust cloud. A while went by. The ghosts and demons were wailing with hunger, and she still hadn't returned with the meat. When the duty meat arrives, I am going to skin the body and eat the flesh. The young monk, who was still hidden inside the clay pot, listened with fear. I'm going to drink his hot blood. I'm going to consume his eyes. The young monk was so afraid of these ravenous spirits' cries and shouts that he almost soiled himself. I must restrain myself tonight, he repeated to himself while biting his lip. If not, I'll end up dead. The human demoness eventually reappeared. She remarked, Respectable chief, the duty meat that I had marked for tonight is nowhere to be found in the whole of Lhasa, with an embarrassed pout. Not even on the Jowo statue's lap. I can't seem to locate him anyplace. Except, your clay pot is the one spot I haven't yet checked. I would appreciate your permission to look, the elderly woman said. You can check, of course. The meat duty demoness said, Thank you. I'll cry out 9 times in different ways, and if the meat is still hidden, I'll find someone else to take his place. Shout out only 8 times to reveal the meat, not 9. The elderly woman commanded. The meat duty demoness nodded and started to call out, one knot unraveling after another at a time. The clay pot shook and swung and then started to fracture as the human demoness let out a cry. The young monk felt terrified and his mind raced, wondering what to do. If they discover that I'm here, I will undoubtedly die. But he did what he was ordered and sat in silence in the pot. The human demon assigned to the meat duty that night grew tense and worried after the 8th yell when the flesh had still not materialized. Please wait for me just for a moment. I will bring my duty flesh immediately. She turned to face the elderly woman. Once more, she mounted her broom and took off, returning later with a big, chubby man trailing behind her. The demons and spirits sprang upon the body when she flung it in front of the group, consuming their favorite parts. Some preferred to eat the flesh, others the bones, still others the blood, and still others the legs. They eagerly consumed the meat. The most significant, valuable, and delectable portions, such as the liver and heart, were reserved for the elderly woman atop the clay pot. Blood soon covered the hands and mouths of the demonic flesh lovers. They struggled over the remnants, and fire shot out of their guts and lips. The young monk, terrified, remained hidden in the pot the entire time. After some time had gone, the young monk's life was narrowly spared in the old evil woman's cracked pot as all the ghosts went their separate ways. The young monk gave the elderly woman a heartfelt thank you after narrowly avoiding death. He was curious and asked her about the spirits he had seen, both living and dead. "All of my companions are evil spirits," declared the elderly woman. "I have spent a great deal of time living with them, but occasionally I think about compassion. I chose to preserve your life this time because I was more empathetic. Since you are a live thing and appear to be wonderful, I would actually love to eat you raw. However, since I was feeling sentimental, I'll let you go this time. But there won't be another one of those times. I will surely eat you if we find ourselves in the same situation again. As you heard and saw last night, my companions are from all over," she went on. "They all have distinct languages and cultural practices. They might not be as sympathetic as I am. Therefore, you won't be able to win my assistance again. My barley beer pot is about to break. Look at it." As the young monk listened to this elderly woman, this human demon, his terror only grew. Day was just breaking when he returned to Sera Monastery. His teacher was overjoyed to see he had returned safely. The young monk told his teacher about what he experienced, of hiding in the clay pot and the horrors he'd witnessed. He also told him that the old woman living in the beggar's tent turned out to be an evil human demoness. The one who had saved his life was the most powerful of the evil spirits. He recounted all the various ghouls he had encountered, describing how flames shot from their eyes and how fire erupted from their mouths. ZGG. Some had right cheeks full of flesh and left cheeks composed entirely of bone. They laughed so hard that their bones cracked open and their internal organs became visible. Some had nails so strong and long they were grinding up the dirt into smoke. When he informed his teacher what he had witnessed, the teacher was terrified by the idea of these awful spirits. Yet all he could say was, "Oh, how pitiful!" Then the teacher told the young monk, "You should go to Tromsikong market right now and see what has come of that meat seller woman." The young monk left right away. When he got to the market, he saw the meat seller woman at her stall. Distraught, she wailed, "My husband! What has happened to my husband? When he went to bed last night, he was fine. But this morning, he wouldn't wake up. What has happened to him?" It dawned on the young monk that she was the one assigned to meat duty at the mysterious party last night, and that the body she had brought with her to carry out her job, the one that the demonic spirits and devils feasted on, was none other than her husband. And shock caused his mouth to gap wide.